On February 3, 2008, a woman named Rebecca Fenton called 911 to report that her husband had been shot and killed by a burglar right in their own home.
911, what's your emergency? My emergency is I think my husband's been shot. My house has been burglarized. I just walked in. I didn't a pulse on him. I just came in from the gym.
Okay, what is the address there, ma'am?
It looks like a burglary. My God.
When investigators arrived at the scene, they found Larry Fenton's body lying in the doorway between the living room and the kitchen. The cause of death was determined to be 2 gunshot wounds, one to the neck and another to the back. At first, Rebecca appeared devastated by her husband's death, crying uncontrollably as she spoke with the police and neighbors. However, when the media arrived, her tears were gone, and people noticed her laughing and acting as if nothing had happened.
I just want to get some just general information from you.
Do you have any answers? Have you found anything else?
Not yet, no. I haven't. I don't have any information. The other officers are out on the scene doing what they have to do. Okay.
The lady said that it was going to take some time.
Yes, it will. It usually, forensics comes out there. They do the processing, and
it really doesn't matter. He's gone.
So, but the more evidence, obviously, we can get, processing the scene, the better it will be, and the quicker it will be to capture who's done this.
Good.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have an idea? Anything? The neighbors? Did anybody?
The other officers are out there talking to the neighbors. They're doing canvassing, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. So there's more going on at the scene.
Right.
No, that's okay.
Something.
No.
Something.
Right. Well, once we're done talking, then I can report back to the scene, and then they can probably give me some more updated information.
The lady, right now. They told me that he's definitely gone, that he can't be brought back to life or nothing.
No.
What do you need to know?
Okay. As far as work goes, are you currently working?
I do a little bit of modeling for Bright House, but I wouldn't consider it work.
Okay.
I do a lot of charity work. I'm going to break my anonymity. I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous. I've been sober 3 years.
Okay.
And I do a lot of work with PAR and rehab, so
okay.
I don't work, but...
Okay. Do you have an agent?
Do you have an angel?
No, an agent for your modeling career.
A friend.
Okay. So it's like private. You're not with an agency. Okay.
When this incident happened, we have an in-law apartment in the back that we turned into a gym. I was in the gym, in our gym, when this happened.
Okay. Tell me about today, when you guys first got up. Anything unusual or strange happen in the morning? First of all, what time did you guys get up?
I had to get up a little bit earlier than usual because I was taking a girl that I have to tell you, I'm in the program. I hate to break my anonymity, but it has a lot to do with my life. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls that I sponsor is in the PAR program. I had to pick her up to take her to a morning meeting that started at 9:45.
Okay.
And that meeting is probably 200 people saw us there.
Okay.
Larry had told me before his trip that he didn't want to do anything. He was going to go to the gym, come home, do a little bit of work on his laptop, and then he was going to watch golf. Mm-hmm. Something about Tiger Woods playing in Dubai, and then, of course, try to take a nap. Mm-hmm. This poor guy went to bed early, and he wanted to stay awake for the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay.
And that's where he was left when this happened.
Okay.
Where was Larry when I walked in the door? He was in the living room.
Okay.
And he was already watching TV.
Remember what he was watching?
Yeah, I joked with him.
Okay.
I said, the only thing that woods are good for is hunting and hiking. Mm-hmm. It's a joke that we have about Tiger Woods.
Okay, but he was watching golf at that point.
He had his feet up on the coffee table. He does it every step.
Okay.
Said that he wanted to take a nap so that he could try to stay up for the Super Bowl. I did come in at one point, just kind of check on him. Mm-hmm. I was like, how's it going? Joked with him. He plays golf in Dubai. Where is that place? Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, but I bet you know all about Mary Kay. And we just joked.
Right.
And it was just a checking on him, I was sitting on the ball when I heard a noise.
Okay.
But it didn't sound like a pop. It sounded like somebody dropped something.
Okay.
And I also had music on real loud. So I continued to keep working out, and then all of a sudden I was like, and I wasn't concerned. I just was.
You heard something that sounded like you said it dropped.
It dropped.
Now,
Something fell off the roof.
Was it one noise? Was it several noises?
No, it was one.
Okay.
It was it sounded like something fell off the roof.
Okay.
And I kept on doing my sit-ups. And then I realized, I was like, let me go check on him. But it wasn't because of the noise. I just, periodically, we just check on each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay. From the gym, what route did you take?
Walked into the back door.
Okay.
My husband was laying in the foyer.
Okay.
There was blood everywhere. He was laying face down.
Okay.
Is the back door open or shut?
Do you mean open, not locked?
Open, standing open?
No, it was shut, but it was not locked.
Is the front door locked?
The front door was not locked unless he got it to lock it, which I doubt, because I walked out the front door to go out to my car and grab some Where and When and some pamphlets on some sponsorship for AA earlier. And Larry wouldn't get up and lock the front door. He'll do all that at night.
Do you guys normally leave your doors open, unlocked?
Not the front door, no.
Okay.
The front door is set up so that when you, I feel like I can't think. I feel like my mind's not inside of my head.
That's okay.
I haven't wrapped
Right.
my mind around the fact that
it's a huge shock.
Rebecca said that while she was working out in a makeshift gym behind the house, she heard a loud noise. At first, she ignored it, but later decided to check it out. That's when she discovered Larry's body lying on the floor, positioned as if he had been trying to run toward the front door.
As far as firearms in the house, guns, firearms,
we
guns.
did own a gun.
Okay.
We bought one very, very recently.
You just have one gun in the house.
Yes.
Okay. Is it a handgun? Is it shotgun or rifle?
It's something that, it's a handgun.
A handgun.
I don't know a lot about it, but we bought it recently, and it's registered, so I can't tell you the exact date.
Is it registered to you or your husband?
Don't quote me. I think Larry told me that it was legal for both of us to use, but only if we used it in the house.
Okay.
Like I couldn't put it in my car or tote it around in my purse.
Right.
And again, don't quote me. I think Larry told me that it was legal for him and for I, but that it had to be used inside of our house.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kept in our bedroom.
Did you ever fire?
No.
You ever handle it?
No. Larry and I talked about going to the firing range, and I was kind of leery about it. We just never did it, and we never saw the whack job again. So it was like, well, it's there if we need it, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
And we never saw the guy again, never had a problem.
Just real quick off of that, when I stepped out, I got a call from some people at the scene, and I guess there's a cell phone there. Whose cell phone would that be? Open cell phone on the ground, do you know?
It wouldn't be mine. Mine's on me.
Yours is on you? Does your husband have a cell phone?
Yes, he does. And when you open it up, there's a picture of me.
Okay.
So you picked up the gun before, but just by like
He brought it home and he showed it to me, and I was just kind of like, I was like, we haven't seen this guy in a while. And he was like, I'm going to take you down the gun range. I'm going to show you how to shoot it so you're perfectly comfortable with it. We don't see the nut ball again, then fine. When I'm out of town, if you ever need it, he said, but I will tell you this, it's only legal to use in the house. You can't go toting it around.
Right.
He joked with me, he said, you can't get PMS and think that you want it. And I was like, I understand.
Right.
And he was like, this is where it's going to be kept.
Where did you guys keep it in the house?
We kept it in our armoire, in our bedroom, in the third drawer on the left side.
Okay. Was it in a gun case?
It was in like a canvas.
Did it come with the gun? In other words, or was it just a canvas case that you guys...
No, I think that it came with the gun.
While investigating the crime scene, police noticed that Larry's car wasn't parked in the driveway. Interestingly, his car was parked on the side of the road, less than 2 blocks away. Inside, they found that everything, including cash, had been stolen from Larry's house. Why would a burglar kill the homeowner when they weren't a threat, steal valuables, then take the car, drive it just 2 blocks away, and leave all the stolen items inside the car?
All right. How many cars do you have?
We have 2 vehicles. It took me probably 15, 20 minutes after everybody arrived, I was talking to a police officer, and it dawned on me that my husband's vehicle was missing. And I turned to him, I go, where the hell is my husband's Jeep?
Where's the keys for the Jeep?
There's a old antique desk in our dining room.
Is that on the first floor or the second floor?
On the first floor.
It's in an antique desk in the dining room.
Yeah, he keeps that. He keeps his wallet.
He keeps all that in there?
When he comes in.
Okay, so he wouldn't sit around the house with his keys in his pocket.
No. No, I can tell you exactly. We both keep our keys.
How many people know where you keep your keys?
Me and my husband.
Nobody else?
No. Nobody's been in our house, even good friends. It's kind of been a choice of ours, but also we just...
Does he leave any keys in the car?
Never.
Is there a spare key in the car, a hide key or something?
I don't know if my husband has a hide key or a spare key to his Jeep. I know that there's 2 sets of keys to my car.
And where are your sets?
I have a set on me. I have a set on me.
Okay.
And I have an extra set that's also in that antique desk. Larry had, I think I had 2 sets when we purchased the car. In 2005.
Did you have those keys on you today, or did you take them when you left?
I took them when I came in. I grabbed my keys. After I realized what had happened, I grabbed my keys they were on the kitchen counter. And I grabbed them off the kitchen counter. When I realized that my house had been ransacked, I ran upstairs. When I saw how bad it was, my first thought was, I better get out of here.
Where was your house ransacked at?
Where?
The whole house, or any particular?
The living room. I noticed that the living room was, my bedroom was, our bedroom was, but especially my husband's office. And I went to reach on the floor for the phone because that's where all of our numbers are. And I was like, let me get out of here. So I went out.
What floor did you go to?
The second floor.
Okay, so you came in, you
Saw
saw
my
him.
husband. I felt for a pulse.
And then you went upstairs?
Yes, I did.
What'd you go upstairs for?
Because when I turned the corner and saw the living room had been ransacked, I went upstairs to see what the hell had happened.
Okay.
And I yelled. I said, I'm loaded. I have the police following me. So if you're in my house, you better come out now.
Okay. Then when did you call 911?
I saw that the house had been ransacked. I ran back down. I checked my husband again for a pulse.
Did he have a pulse the first time?
I couldn't tell.
What about the second time?
I didn't feel one, but I didn't know if I was feeling in the right place.
Okay.
I got out of the house. I went to my car, which was in the driveway. I opened up the door, and I called you guys.
They found it very strange that after Rebecca discovered her husband's body and checked his pulse, she ran around the house unarmed to see what had happened. After checking each room, she checked Larry's pulse a second time before going outside to call the police. Rebecca claimed the first pulse check didn't confirm that Larry was dead, so why didn't she immediately call 911 and request an ambulance? Also, why would she stay inside a house where there could still be a killer?
Okay.
And then I got out of my car, and I was hysterical, and I just started pacing the driveway. I was like, somebody's got to get here now. If he's still alive, maybe you can help him. Trying to remember what else I said.
What did they tell you on the phone?
Try to calm down. What is your name? Help is on the way. Was he shot or was he stabbed? I told him that I didn't know. I couldn't tell. I just kept, I don't know that I was screaming. I just kept saying.
When you checked him, you just checked his pulse?
His eyes were open. I checked here.
Was he face up or face down?
He was face down.
Face down?
Blood all around him.
Well, how was his head? Was his head down or to the
His
side?
head was to the side, and his eyes were open, and that's what made me think that maybe he was alive, and if I could get an ambulance out there fast enough, maybe we could save his life.
Okay. So you checked his pulse?
I checked his neck. When I came back down the stairs, we checked his arm. And then I thought it was a good idea if I got out of the house to just call the police.
Okay. You didn't try CPR, didn't try to revive him?
No, I didn't. I didn't think it was a good idea to touch anything. What
did you think happened?
I wanted to know if my husband was still alive. I was,
Let me just make sure I understand you right. You came in the back door, your husband's laying there.
yes,
You went to him first.
yes,
Okay.
screamed.
Okay.
Throughout the interrogation, Rebecca repeatedly reminded the detectives that she had screamed and cried when no one was around. She said this to make sure they all knew she was the victim.
Where's the nearest phone to your husband at that time?
The nearest phone to my husband would have been in the living room, but our living room phones, the buttons haven't been working recently.
Okay.
So my cell phone is sitting in my car. I would have had to have gone upstairs and either used his business line or used the landline that's upstairs. When I went upstairs, it wasn't to use the phone. It was to see what the hell had happened and if anybody else was still in my house. When I saw my husband's office and I saw my room had been ransacked, I ran back down the stairs. I checked Larry again.
Okay. Was anything ransacked on the first floor?
Yes, the living room. The living room was ransacked. The drawers had been pulled out. All of my self-help books had been pulled out. This just happened. I'm having a hard time remembering, but I'll do the best I can. And I think it was a good idea to move them. I
Okay.
just remember telling the lady, hurry if we get an ambulance to him. Maybe he's
Let
not
me just
dead.
ask you, why didn't you think it was a good idea to move him?
I just think that, well, I couldn't fathom the fact of what had happened. I couldn't.
What did you think happened?
There's something very wrong. He couldn't be dead. And if I could get an ambulance there fast enough, maybe they could help. I didn't think it was a good idea to touch him. I can remember being leery just to get a pulse. You know, I guess I just watched too much TV, and it's like, don't touch, don't disturb.
What kind of TV would tell you that?
Just, I don't know, CSI, I guess, you know, don't touch anything, stay, you know, the minute you find out something's wrong, get outside, call the police. You know, I just wanted to get an ambulance there because I wasn't sure whether he had a pulse or not. I didn't know if I was checking even right. And if I got an ambulance there fast enough, maybe they could get it back.
Rebecca kept saying that her main goal was to get an ambulance to her location as quickly as possible. If that's true, then why did she spend time walking through both floors of the house, passing by 2 landline phones, before going outside to call 911?
And he had no enemies, correct?
No,
You don't have any enemies?
no.
Is there anything of value in the house?
Jewelry. We don't have any money in the house.
But nobody's been in the house to know that's there, correct?
No,
Okay. Any marital problems?
not at all.
He has a couple of ex-wives, is that
Yes, he
correct?
does, and we've never had any problems from either one of them. One of them lives right down the road. We're not friends with them, but they don't give us any problems, and I've never physically seen either one of them.
And the reason I ask is, when canvassing the neighborhood, some people say that your appearance has changed slightly in the past year. You're a lot thinner in the face, and
Well, I quit drinking 3 years ago, so maybe it's from the bloating. But I've always weighed 122 pounds, and I fluctuate between
but
120.
you were bloated before. Is that
Bloated in the face from drinking alcohol, yeah.
okay? No drug use.
Marijuana.
How often do you use marijuana?
I used marijuana.
Okay.
My sobriety date is 2/17 of 2005. I am clean and
So
sober.
you're an alcoholic
Mhm.
and you use
And I
marijuana?
use marijuana. Drugs are not a part of my story besides that at all.
Okay.
My husband did not drink. That's not true. Once in a while, he'd be out on a trip or something and he would have a beer. But my husband couldn't tolerate, he couldn't drink. He couldn't tolerate it.
The detectives asked Rebecca to recount her day once more so they could compare her story to the first time she told it. They questioned her about the phone calls she made, and that's when she mentioned using her cell phone while working out in the gym. The inconsistency here is that Rebecca had previously said she had to go to the car to retrieve her cell phone in order to call 911. Now, she was claiming she had the phone with her while exercising. Unfortunately, the detectives didn't catch this discrepancy.
Did you get any phone calls during that time period you were home, or make any phone calls?
Did I make any phone calls? No, I did get a phone call from a girl that I sponsor, and I told, as a matter of fact, I was in the gym when I got the call.
Is there a phone in the gym, or she called your cell
She
phone?
called my cell phone.
Okay.
And I said to Gail, I said, is this important? Do you think you're going to drink? Are you having any problems? What are your thoughts and feelings? She goes, no, I'm just checking in with you.
Okay.
And I said, listen, I'm working out right now. And
That's
she
the
goes,
same girl you were with earlier?
no, this is a different one.
So it was just a quick conversation while you were in the gym?
Yeah, it was like, you going to drink? If you're not going to drink, and, you're not flipping off the walls and flipping in or whatever, and everything's okay, I do care, but let me finish my workout and I'll give you a call.
Right, okay. Were there any other phone calls today that came or went from
After
you?
I came home?
Mm-hmm.
None on my cell phone.
Another issue they faced was the crime scene. The intruder supposedly entered through the front door, which means Larry would have seen and heard them from the couch in the living room. How did the intruder get behind Larry to shoot him if they would have been between Larry and the front door? Additionally, why would the intruder stay to ransack the house, which would have taken at least 5 minutes? And why would the intruder decide to rob this house in broad daylight with 2 cars parked out front?
So if somebody came in, he would have been downstairs.
He was downstairs, and if somebody would have walked in, they wouldn't have immediately saw him.
Uh-huh.
They would have had to gone in a little bit and seen him at the end of the couch. They would have walked in the front door.
If somebody had walked in and walked upstairs without seeing him,
Could somebody have walked in and walked upstairs and not seen him? Absolutely.
you think so?
Yeah, because our staircase is right there. They could have walked right into the front door, but he would have heard them.
You would have heard
Oh,
him gone
absolutely.
upstairs. So the person that ransacked the place probably killed him first, you think?
I'm sorry. There's no way that you could have torn that house to smithereens without Larry knowing it in the way that he was laying. He must have heard somebody come in the door, because it looks where he was laying, like, not maybe there was a confrontation, but he came into the foyer. There's no reason for him to come in the foyer unless he was crossing over the kitchen to get to the
I'm just trying to understand this. What type of person shoot somebody, make that noise, and then take time to ransack a house?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I have no idea what happened. And I didn't hear.
And you didn't hear the car leave?
No.
Where was his car at in reference to where you were?
My car's parked here. He's parked here.
In the dirt?
Yeah,
He
he
would have
parked.
been in the
Yeah,
dirt.
he gets to park in the dirt. I get the driveway. Sometimes he'll bring it around
They
and park
really
it.
tore the house up?
What'd you
They
say?
really tore your house up?
I didn't look that
they
well.
knocked things over, knocked over big items, tipped things over.
Yeah, it looked like the living room, the stereo system had been knocked over. I can remember that. Drawers pulled out.
But nothing was taken. The stereo was still
I
there.
have
The
an
TV was
antique
still
set
there.
from my antique store. We've got 3 pieces. They could be somebody's retirement, for God's sakes.
And that was still there.
There were paintings in there that are worth $17,000 to $25,000. This person didn't know they were antiques. They didn't know they're paintings. Right above
What
our
were they
fire.
looking for then?
You're asking me questions I can't answer. I don't know. We don't have money in our house. My
Do you have a safe in
expensive...
the house?
No. No, we don't. And my expensive jewelry is kept in a sewing box that it's an old-fashioned antique sewing box, and unless you know that the middle opens sort of like a Chinese puzzle box.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been in that house?
Let me think for a second. I think 4 years, but I can't think straight. And
Did he or you ever sell drugs out of that house?
no,
No.
absolutely not.
So somebody wouldn't be looking for illegal drugs?
No, I'm not even clean and sober.
Just trying to figure out why somebody spend that much time in your house.
I don't know. I'm not sure what happened.
Do you have any questions of me?
I'm just trying to get my mind wrapped around the fact that he's gone, and I just want to know. To say, tell me who did this, but at this point I'm just feeling like it really doesn't matter who did it because he's gone. So I want to know when I'm going to be allowed to go back into my home and see if anything's missing. Do you have any answers? Anything? Has anything come through?
Not
The
yet.
neighbors?
Takes a long time to get in the house and process. It could take all night.
That's what the woman said.
They're very meticulous.
Good. That's good.
And if the suspect was all over the house, they're gonna have to
Left
process.
something behind, right?
Mhm.
Do you think it was one person? Are we looking at more than one person?
I don't know because I haven't been into the scene. I don't know. I haven't been into your home.
The detectives had their suspicions, but they didn't have enough evidence to arrest Rebecca. Before letting her go, they asked if they could conduct some tests, specifically a gunshot residue test on her hands.
All right. The only other thing that we're going to do is just do forensics, do some processing. They're just going to take photographs of you. Okay, they're just going to test your hands and collect some clothing. Okay, we have clothes here. We'll give you t-shirt and shorts. Okay, and then that's it. Okay.
We're gonna put you in your room, but we're gonna ask that you don't wash your hands. Okay?
Right, I understand.
Because you understand we have to rule you out because you were there, right?
The woman explained to me because I signed something and it said something about accused, and then it was she had to come in the bathroom with me, so I didn't wash my hands. So all of a sudden, I said, "Am I a suspect?" And she very calmly explained that this is a procedure and this is how it goes and this is why it goes like this. And
See, we want to do this because we don't want somebody to say 3 months from now after we did nothing with you that you did it. You see what we're saying?
I don't understand what you're saying. No.
That's the purpose of us doing this, to eliminate you since you were at the house.
Okay.
So if somewhere down the line somebody says 3 months, somebody down the line accuses you for whatever reason, we can say, well, we did this, this, and this, and
Great.
okay.
Yeah,
You haven't shot a gun recently, have you?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
All right.
The tests they conducted came back negative for gunshot residue. While the tests were being processed, the detectives had a chance to talk among themselves. They still couldn't figure out why Rebecca acted the way she did after discovering her husband's body.
Just try to get your line of thinking here. We were thinking about this, and both of us are married, and we thought, well, if this happened to us, we don't think we would have left our spouse's side during that time. I mean, especially if we thought there was some hope that they were alive.
I got scared. I thought the best thing for me to do was to get out of the house.
What were you scared of at that time?
What had happened? Call the police. Get people there as soon as possible.
What I don't understand, though, is why you take the time to go upstairs. The danger upstairs, the unknown upstairs. Why would you put yourself in that situation
I wanted to
if
see if
you
somebody was still in my house.
What were you going to do if you ran across somebody?
I don't know. I don't know. I get killed.
Still, what about, wouldn't your main concern be what, if he's still alive, maybe I can help him?
I wanted to help him.
But you left.
I walked outside and called the police. I left the scene. I walked outside and called the police.
And left your husband.
And asked them to get an ambulance there as quick as possible. Because I wasn't for sure that he was dead. I didn't know if he had been shot or if he had been stabbed. And could they get an ambulance there as quick as possible?
But you didn't attempt any CPR, didn't stay with them. I mean, why did you leave?
I thought it was a smart thing to do. Get out of the house, not, get out of the house and call the police. That's what I was thinking. And horrified by what I had seen and what had happened. I wasn't sure what had happened, and it had to have happened, and I was so close by.
Rebecca made a mistake when she told the detectives that she saw 2 wounds on her husband's back. The paramedics didn't know how many wounds there were or their locations until they removed Larry's shirt. So, how did Rebecca know?
How would you know that there were 2 wounds, though, when all that's starting to coagulate and run together? They had to actually physically remove clothes to see how many wounds there were.
He was laying on the floor with his face like this. His eyes were open.
Right.
I saw a wound here, and I saw a wound what was like in the middle of his back.
And what did these wounds look like?
He had either been shot or he had been stabbed.
Why do you say that? What did the wounds look like?
They didn't look like wounds. They looked like blood. I didn't see wounds. I saw blood on his clothes.
What color was his sweater?
It was a white, grayish sweatshirt. He was white.
Dark or light?
It was light.
And then, all right, so then you check the house and there's nobody there, obviously, right?
Right.
So why'd you leave your husband there?
To call the police. Should I have stayed with them and
There was
put him
no-
in my lap?
There was no phone in the house, or?
There was a phone in the house. I
We're
did
just
not.
trying to understand why you did what you did.
Did he say anything? Could you see his chest rising and falling? Did you tell
No.
if he was breathing?
No, but I thought that he might be alive because his eyes were open. And I just bent down. I was like, Larry? Larry?
Did he make any sounds
No.
at any point?
No. And I got up and I went outside and I called the police. If I had known that I was supposed to be with him, or hold him, or do CPR, then I would have. I think that I'm trying to think of what I was thinking.
Did the 911 operator ask you if he's breathing? What did the 911 operator, what did you tell them?
I said, I believe my house has just been burglarized, and it looks like my husband could possibly be deceased, but I can't tell. She said, where are you calling from? I gave her my last name and my address. I was hysterical, so you'll have to listen to the tape to know what I said exactly. I didn't think it was wise for me to touch him, to get blood on me, to turn him over, to do anything like that. I thought that would just either make things worse for the scene. I didn't know if anybody was still in my house the first time when I found him. I guess if you guys would have shown up and I would have had blood all over me, I guess it might have incriminated me. I did think that he might still be alive because his eyes were open.
Although the detectives believed something was off about her story, they had to conclude the interview and let her go. Before leaving, Rebecca asked why the crime scene didn't make any sense.
Okay. I'm just a little concerned about the last questions that have been asked because they don't make sense to me.
What do you mean the last questions have been asked?
When you're, how could somebody have known that those keys went to that Jeep?
You asked that. I didn't ask.
I know. Now I've got some questions. Like there's a few things here that don't make sense. Why would they take keys? How could they have known that it belonged to a Jeep? You're telling me a neighbor tells me the Jeep wasn't there.
And didn't you say you took your keys off the counter?
I took the keys off the breakfast counter.
Why wouldn't
they have taken them? They're out in the open. And take the Hyundai. The Hyundai Hyundai's clearer, a better car. It's closer. It's right there. So I guess I'm just a little concerned that there's some questions here that aren't making sense to me.
They're not making sense to us either.
Okay.
You're hoping maybe you could shed some light on it.
I don't know how I could.
Rebecca was released and informed that she would not be allowed to return to her home for several days. This infuriated her, and she demanded permission to go back, even if only for a few minutes. The police stood firm, and she was forced to stay with a close friend. The next day, investigators decided to search her car, which was parked in the driveway. Under the driver's seat, they found a men's watch and the murder weapon. The gun was registered to Larry and was the same firearm Rebecca mentioned during her interview. Testing confirmed it was indeed the weapon used to kill Larry, but no fingerprints were found on it. The detectives chose not to confront Rebecca, at least not until they had more evidence tying her to the murder. This decision led to the case remaining unsolved for over 5 years. During that time, Rebecca attempted to claim her husband's substantial life insurance policy, but due to the numerous unanswered questions, the insurance company refused to pay. Struggling with mounting bills, Rebecca eventually received notice from the bank that her home was going into foreclosure. Strangely, not long after receiving this notice, Rebecca's house went up in flames. Since the fire department couldn't determine the cause of the blaze, Rebecca was awarded a generous insurance payout. Shortly after the fire, police arrested a petty thief named Alfred Noland. Realizing he was about to violate his parole, Alfred shared a story with police about a woman named Rebecca Fenton. Alfred claimed he had lived with and dated Rebecca briefly, recalling that she was struggling to pay her bills. He stated that during his time with her, they had a heated argument about money. During the fight, Rebecca grabbed a kitchen knife and threatened him, saying she would kill him just like she had killed Larry if he didn't bring her more money. With Alfred's testimony, police had enough evidence to bring Rebecca in for questioning again. The interrogation lasted only a few minutes. The moment Rebecca realized what was happening, she demanded a lawyer. Unfortunately for her, the police already had an arrest warrant signed by a judge, officially charging Rebecca with murder. Prosecutors believed that after finishing her workout, Rebecca entered the house where Larry was watching TV on the couch. She then went upstairs, grabbed the gun, and returned downstairs to confront Larry. When Larry saw the gun, he stood up and ran toward the front door. Rebecca aimed the gun at her fleeing husband and shot him. After the murder, Rebecca likely staged a burglary, placing a few items in Larry's car, but ran out of time and abandoned the car a few blocks away. She then hurried back home to wash the gunpowder residue off her hands. Running out of time again, she hid the gun under the seat of her car, thinking she could dispose of it later. The evidence, combined with Alfred's testimony, was enough to convince the jury of her guilt. Rebecca was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder.